Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya
Narayanam Namaskritya
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Naram
Naram
Chaiva
Chaiva
Narottamam
Narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim
Devim
Saraswatim
Saraswatim
Vyasam
Vyasam
Tato Jayam Udirayet
Tato
Tato
Jayam
Jayam
Udiraye
Udidayet
Shinvatam Swakatah Krishna
Shanvatam Swakatha Krishna
Punyashravana Kirtana
Punya Shravana Kirtana
Vidyantastohi Abhadrani
Hridyam
Hridayananta Sohe
Asastotiva
Bhadrani
Vidhunoti Sahritsatam
Vidhunoti
Vidhunotishvat
Suhutsatam
Satam
Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu
Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu
Bhadreshu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam
Nityam
Bhagavata Sevaya
Devaya
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke
Bhagavati
Bhagavate
Uttama
Uttama
Shloke
Shloke
Bhaktir Bhavati Nayishtiki
Bhaktir
Bhaktir
Bhavati
Bhaktinamstaki
Naishtaki
Krishnaya Vasudevaya
Krishnaya
Krishnaya
Vasudevaya
Vasudevaya
Devaki Nandanaya Cha
Devaki
Nandana
Nandanaya
Nanda Gopakumaraya
Nanda Gopakumaraya
Govindaya Namo Namaha.
Govindaya
Govindaya Namo
Namo
Namaha.
So we'll continue study of 6th chapter. So last week we completed 5th chapter. So 5th chapter is Narada enters. Vyasdev was despondent. Understanding this, his spiritual master Narada Muni enters and he inquires about despondency of Vyasadeva. And after later he instructs about what was missing in his compositions. Narada Muni first praises all the work that he had done and points to what exactly is missing in the compositions of Srila Vyasadeva, which is direct descriptions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although he presented this in various parts, partly, but there was no concrete subject that was exclusively dedicated for describing the Lord and his, the pastimes of his devotees, with his devotees. So that was the missing piece that he was pointed. And then Narada Muni also describes about his own journey of how he became a devotee. So he talks about his previous birth in the previous kalpa, where he was the son of a maid servant, and they were serving. His mother was serving in an ashram where many Bhaktivedantas visit during the monsoon season, and they stay there. And mother would serve them, and Narada Muni joins his mother. He's only like 4.5, 5 years old boy. He joins and he serves along with his mother, the Bhaktivedantas. And he was so menial, and he does not have any interest in playing or any other sportive activities that are of interest for his age. So because of all these qualities, the Bhaktivedantas were very pleased with his disposition. And in fact, he also receives their remnants. And with all of this, he was blessed in the process of bhakti. And after this, the Bhaktivedantas would leave the place. So that's where Narada Muni stops about his journey, and he talks about how he understands, how his understanding of the process of bhakti evolved during the stay of the uh, during the stay of the Bhaktivedantas in the ashram. And after that, Vyasadeva further inquires about Narada Muni's life after the Bhaktivedantas, life after Bhaktivedantas leave the place. Right? What did he do after that, and what has happened with his life, and how he was able to remember what has happened in the previous day of Brahma. So that was quite intriguing to Vyasadeva. So he inquires about that in the first 4 slokas of 6th chapter. Okay? So it's a continuation of Narada Muni and Vyasadeva's conversation. Narada Muni is a spiritual master. Vyasadeva was the disciple. He was very humble and menial before his spiritual master. So he inquires in a submissive way about the further details of Narada Muni's journey of spiritual life, how he attained the kind of body that he has currently. Right? So that was the inquiry. So yeah, this is that. Continue from here, 5th verse. Now Narada Muni starts answering after the hearing the inquiries. So this is the last inquiry. Oh, great says, time annihilates everything in due course. So how is it that this subject matter, which happened prior to this day of Brahma, is still fresh in your memory, undisturbed by time? So this was the last inquiry of Vyasadeva. Right? So now let's read together these verses. Narada Uvacha
Narada Uvacha
Bhikshubhir Vipravasite
Bhikshubhirvipravaste
Vijnana Deshtrabhir Mama
Vijnanadeshtabhirmama
Vartamano Vayasajye
Vartamano
Vayasade
Tate Etad Akarasam.
Tata
Tatakarsham.
Yeah. Sri Narada said, the great sages who had imparted scientific knowledge of transcendence to me departed for other places, and I had to pass my life in this way. So he tells that now the Bhaktivedantas have departed. I was left in the ashram. Right? So anybody wants to read?
In his previous life, when Naradaji was impregnated with spiritual knowledge by the grace of the great sages, there was a tangible change in his life. Although he was only a boy of 5 years, that is an important symptom visible after initiation by the bona fide spiritual master. Actual association of devotees brings about a quick change in life for spiritual realization.
Even though he is a boy of 5 years, his life has completely changed since coming in association with the great advanced devotees, Bhaktivedantas, in the ashram. In fact, they also initiated Narada Muni, even though he is a boy of 5 years. So he completely changed. His outlook has changed completely. Ekatmaja me janani
Ekatmajane janani
Yoshin Mudha Chakinkari
Yoshimudha Chakinkari
Mayatmaje Nanya Gatao
Mayatmajena Katho
Chakre Snehanubandhanam.
Chakre
Chakre
Snehanubandhanam.
Yeah. So now he talks about Narada Muni doesn't have a father. He only has mother. So he is the only son of his mother, and she's a maid servant. She's not like very well situated by her own situation. So she talks about her situation. Yeah, please read.
I was the only son of my mother, who was not only a simple woman, but a maidservant as well. Since I was her only offspring, she had no other alternative for protection. She bound, she bound me with the tie of affection.
Chakre Snehanubandhana means tying with the bond of affection, material affection, because she has nobody and he has nobody. Naturally, they don't know anything and outside world, in the outside world. So they were very much strongly bonded. So she had no alternative for protection. Her situation is that she's a maid servant, and so that was the condition of Narada Muni at the time, material. Shashvatantra na kalpashit
Swasatantra na kalpasi,
yogakshema mamechati
yogakshemam bhavichati,
ishasya vashe loko
loko,
yosha daru mayiyata. Yeah. Anybody?
She wanted to look after my maintenance properly, but because she was not independent, she was not able to do anything for me. The world is under the full control of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, everyone is like a wooden doll in the hands of a puppet master.
Yeah. Sasutantra na kalpashit. Like Sasutantra means Aswatantra. Aswatantra means not like everybody is dependent in this world. We're all like dolls in the hands of the Supreme Lord. Right? Especially while materially bound, we are dolls under the three modes of material nature. Okay? So she wanted to look after my maintenance properly, but she herself materially situated poorly, and she is not independent, and so she couldn't do really much. As a boy, he could realize that. Right? Aham chatat brahma kule
Aham cha tat brahma kule
usi vams tad upekshaya
Ushivam Upekshaya
Vigdesh kala vyutpanno
Digdeshakala Vyutpanno
balaka pancha hayana.
Balakaha Panchahayanaha.
I was a mere child of 5 years. I lived in a Brahmana school. I was dependent on my mother's affection and had no experience of different lands.
Yeah, same thing. He was completely dependent on his mother's affection because they know nobody else. So if you have nobody else as a child, naturally you completely depend on mother's affection. In a way, that is the only material attachment he had. After hearing the spiritual instruction, this remains the only attachment for him. Ekada nirgatam gehat duhantim nishigam pati
Duhantim
sarpodashat padas prishta kripanam kalachodita.
Kripanam Kalachodita.
Please read.
Once upon a time, my poor mother, when going out one night to milk a cow, was bitten on the leg by a serpent, influenced by supreme time.
So unfortunately, Narada Muni's mother, right, she was out in the night, and she was trying to milk the cow, and the snake bites her. Yeah, please continue, Mataji. Divi Drishti Mataji.
Yes, Prabhu. That is a way of dragging a sincere soul nearer to God. The poor boy was being looked after only by his affectionate mother, and yet the mother was taken from the world by the supreme will. in order to put him completely at the mercy of the Lord.
See, externally, this looks like a very bad treatment to the boy, right? For example, if a young child loses the only dependence he has, it's a very external, materially, it is a very bad situation for somebody to be, correct? And first of all, he is not rich off. He doesn't have anything to like a home or anything. And the only affection he shared was his mother, Narada, as a boy. And now he lost his mother. Imagine his situation, right? There is nobody else to share that kind of affection he wouldn't receive from anybody else. But that is how any materialistic person sees. But a devotee can see actually this is a perfect situation for somebody to advance spiritually. It is a special mercy of the Lord, right? So this is the way of dragging a sincere soul nearer to God. Right? For example, if this did not happen, we'll see what happens in Narada's life. Narada would not have left that place, and he would have continued staying where he is. And Narada would not have become what he is today. Similarly, we see in the life of so many devotees. For example, Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj, when he got the curse, that is when he immediately left. He didn't say, "Hey, why Lord? Why the situation on me?" So Krishna puts his devotees, especially those with strong faith, in special situations so that we can learn through their life. So by what has happened in his life, we'll see in the next few verses how he becomes very detached and actually sticks onto the path given by Bhakti Vedantas. So in that way, he actually perfects his own life. And and the mother, because she had left him, the son has become so perfect. She also receives the credits of having such a great child. Right? So in this way, actually, in the higher vision of the Lord, it is the best thing that Lord has done by separating them. He was giving the opportunity for the child to actually get away from the last material affection he had. But he is ready for that. That's why Lord put him in that situation. Most people, Lord wouldn't do such thing because maybe they're not ready. Like for example, in the life of Srila Prabhupada, he wanted to follow the instruction of spiritual master, but he wasn't seeing the way, and he wanted to spread the movement, and he started already a league of devotees in Jhansi in India. It was flourishing well. Within a year, he was able to assemble hundreds of devotees there. If it were to continue very well, probably Prabhupada would have focused on preaching in India, across the country. But the situation fell apart. Like within few days, the place was seized from him, and he is like back to zero. Has no, all the work he had done for 1 year is gone waste. And again he's back to square, and then he again thinks about it seriously, and then he looks at the opportunities to go to America. So that's how the whole thing manifested, right? If it were to continue like that, externally it appears like a very bad situation for Srila Prabhupada, but that was a good, in the bigger vision of the Lord, that was the right thing for him. Same with Parikshit Maharaj. So it's very difficult to understand just by seeing the momentary situation. Lord has a better plan for us. That's what we accept. That's what we see in the life of Narada Muni. He doesn't complain that, Lord, why did you take my mother away? Why did you put me in this situation? Right? He actually thinks that this is the mercy of the Lord.
So, Prabhu, is it the verse Tattenu Kampan Susamikshimano relevant here?
Yes, Tattenu Kampan Susamikshimano Bhunjani Eva Hridam Vibhagam. Yeah. So Lord's devotees, pure devotees, always see the most difficult situations as the greatest blessings for them, and they think that they would have received worse situation than what they're going through. But by the causeless mercy of the Lord, He has reduced the situation, the worstness of the situation. Yeah. So devotees never complain. Whatever may be the situation, they see how Lord wants them to reduce their material attachments and how Lord wants them to get closer to Him. So that is how the devotee's vision is always. Even when Prabhupada last, so another verse relevant to the Yashaham Anugrahnani Hariste Swabhat. No, I think we kept it.
Harisya se sadhanam shanay.
Yeah. Yashaham Anugrahnani Harishetad Dhanam Shanai Tato Dhanam Chadanti Yasya Svajana Dukkha Dukkitam. So the personality of Godhead said, if I especially favor someone, I gradually deprive him of his wealth. Then the relatives and friends of such a poverty-stricken man abandon him. In this way, he suffers one distress after another. But ultimately, the point is, it's not just about everybody getting rid of him. The other point is that he becomes closer to. He has no other dependency. He depends on Krishna after this. He takes full shelter of Krishna. So this is special mercy of the Lord. So when Prabhupada's business collapsed, right, he had a burglary in his medical store. He immediately laughs at the situation when somebody calls him, Prabhupada, your business is, there was a burglary and we lost everything. So then immediately Prabhupada, remembers this verse. He doesn't feel sad or depressed. Immediately remember this verse. This is a special arrangement of the Lord for me to get closer to Him. Right? So all this happened in the life of Prabhupada only to get him closer to his mission. Right? His life's mission is to establish this Krishna conscious movement worldwide. And Prabhupada never complained why this is happening in my life. Right? So that was the greatness of Srila Prabhupada. This was the way of dragging a sincere soul near to God. See, sometimes for the new people who come to Bhakti, these stories will appear a little bit tragic, right? And why would Lord do such things to his devotees? In fact, for example, there are devotees like Kubza who were benedicted, or the fruit vendor, or who got immediate benediction from the Lord, or the who's that person? Yeah, Guru Maharaj. So there are many stories where Lord immediately benefits him. But there are also stories, special stories like this, when a devotee is specially qualified to face such situation. He puts them in this situation to show how great the devotees are. For example, in the Maharaj Chitraketu, right? He becomes a demon, Vritrasura. That was another tragic story. Like that. So there are many stories where Lord actually shakes the devotee up and down, depending on how he wants to leverage the devotee in teaching the world a great lesson, right? Or leveraging him for a specific service. In all the situations, the devotee become victorious because Lord is always there with them and supports through all these situations. Right? In no situation do you see the devotee's life completely end miserably, right? For example, another story is Maharaj Anga, right? Anga story, right? Anga's son Veena. Anga was a great devotee, and his son Veena was born out of a great sacrifice. And Lord himself comes and benedicts him, and this boy is born Veena. Veena was like a total rascal. Like he would not, as a playful boy, he would kill his friends. I was like, the father was totally disappointed. How come I have a son like this? He was so disappointed that he becomes completely detached and he leaves the country, right? So that is the way of making that person detached, right? So every story is different, but in all the situations, the devotee always takes shelter. Not everybody's life is, hunky dory and it's all smooth and happy, right? The journey could be painful, but the destination or the goal they achieve is perfect. Right? So that's what we should see. Tada, yeah. Tada tat aham ishashya
तदा तत्
Aham
Ishasya
bhaktanam samabhi abhipshata
भक्तानां
Sanabhishata
Abhishata
anugrahanam manyamana
Anugraham Manya Manya
pratishtham dishamuttaram.
Pratishtha
Deshamuttaram.
Deshamuttaram.
How did he take it? Read this.
I took this as the special mercy of the Lord, who always desires benediction for his devotees. So thinking, I started for the north.
Yeah, see, he lost his mother, and in fact, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says he would not even perform the last rites for his mother. He took that as a immediate instruction from the Lord to leave the place and be detached and start the search for the Lord. Right? So thinking, I started for the north. He immediately started walking off from the location. Continue, Prabhu.
The purport, Prabhu, or the
Purport.
okay. Confidential devotees of the Lord see in every step a benedictory direction of the Lord. What is considered to be an odd or difficult moment in the mundane sense is accepted as special mercy of the Lord. Mundane prosperity is a kind of material fever, and by the grace of the Lord, the temperature of this material fever is gradually diminished, and spiritual health is obtained step by step. Mundane people misunderstand it.
So what is considered, so confidential devotees of the Lord see in every step a benedictory direction of the Lord. See, external situation is immaterial for the great devotees, confidential devotees, right? So external situation in the material world is not very significant for them. So they see in every step a benedictory direction of the Lord. So every turn of his own life they see it as one step closer to Lord. Right? What is considered to be an odd or difficult moment in the mundane sense is accepted as special mercy of the Lord. So this is only possible for the devotees, especially those who have a lot of faith in Krishna. Right? So mundane prosperity is a kind of material fever, and by the grace of the Lord, the temperature of the material fever is gradually diminished, and spiritual health is obtained step by step. Right? Mundane people misunderstand. So mundane people, for them, this kind of situation is seems very, it appears like Lord is very ruthless. How come this thing happened to Narada Muni at his young age? Right? Spitam janapadam statra
Spitam Janam Padam Patra
puragrama vrajakaran
Puragrama Vijakara
Hetakarva karvata vatischa
Parvatavatescha
vanani upavanicha
Vanani Upavanicha.
Yeah. Anybody want to read?
After my departure, I passed through many flourishing metropolises, towns, villages, animal farms, mines, agricultural lands, valleys, flower gardens, nursery gardens, and natural forests.
You see, many flourishing metropolises. This is happening in the previous day of Brahma. See, this material world having all this technology and all of this, it's not anything new. We think that, oh, this is only happening now. These technologies and all existed every day of Brahma will have similar stories. It could be a little bit differently created, but so you see, there are all these things. He was not attracted to any of this. He was walking the north. He was passing through all these things, but he was not attracted to any of this. Yeah.
After many hundreds of millions of years, one creation is started by the law of nature, and the history of the universe repeats itself practically in the same way. The mundane wranglers waste time with archaeological excavations without searching into the vital necessities of life. After getting an impetus in spiritual life, Sri Narada Muni, even though a mere child, did not waste time for a single moment with economic development, although he passed towns and villages, mines and industries.
He passed through so many things, but he was not attracted to any of that. Chitradhatu vichitradrin
Chitradhatu Vichitradrin
Prabhagna bhujadruman
Vibhabhagna Bhujadruman
Bhujadruman
Jalasayanchiva jalan
Jalasayanchiva Jalan
Jalan
Nalini surasevita
Nalini Surasevita
Chitrasvanai patra rathair Brahma Vibrahma Brahmarasriya. Yeah, for the travels.
I passed through hills and mountains full of reservoirs of various minerals like gold, silver and copper, and through tracts of land with the reservoirs of water filled with beautiful lotus flowers fit for regions of heaven decorated with the bewildered beasts and singing birds.
Continued walking. He saw mineral ores, gold, silver, copper. He was not attracted to any of that. He was just continuing. Yeah. Nalavenu sarastam tanba
Nalavenu
Sarastamba
Shaki chakad gahwaram
Ushaki
Chakadvaram
Eka evaitiyatoham Adraksham vipinam mahat Ghoram prati bhayakaram Yalo luka shivajiram
I then passed alone through many forests of rushes, bamboo, reeds, short grass, weeds, and caves, which were very difficult to go through alone. I visited deep, dark, and dangerously fearful forests, which were the playyards of snakes, owls, and jackals.
So he was passing through all these. He was acting like a mendicant, experiencing. So this is how Parivajakacharyas always go around the world. They will not stay in one place. They see the creation of the Lord and they experience various places and go and preach to various kinds of people and bring them closer to God. Yeah? So I will not read this. Yeah. So sannyasi is not about dress. Prabhupada says sannyasi is about actual, lack of desire to enjoy things of this world. Detachment. Detachment is a attribute of inner consciousness. Yeah. So can you read from this part?
Yes, Prabhu. In this age, a devotional service of hearing and repeating the holy glories of the Lord is strongly recommended, and one who takes the vow of renunciation of family life need not imitate the Parivrajaka like Narada or Lord Chaitanya, but may sit down at some holy place and devote his whole time and energy to hear and repeatedly chant the holy scriptures left by the great acharyas like the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavana.
So one should repeatedly chant the holy scriptures, chant the holy name left by the great acharyas. That is the main instruction. That's the only way out in this mental existence, from this mental existence. Parishrantandriyatmaham
Yatindriyatmaham
Vitparito bhubukshita
Viparita Vibhukshita
Natva pitva hrada nadya
Natmapita Hridanadya
Upaspishto gatasrama
Upaprishto Gatashna.
He traveled a lot, so he's tired. Yeah, go ahead.
Thus,
Thus-
traveling,
Traveling,
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, Kaustubh.
thus traveling, I felt tired both bodily and mentally, and I was both thirsty and hungry. So I took a bath in a river lake and also drank water. By contacting water, I got relief from my exhaustion.
He was very tired, so both mentally and physically. So he took bath and drank water. So this way you can see, like, nature already provides. Nature already provides the needful things for everybody. Especially the Parivrajakacharyas, they know they're not really dependent on anybody. They have nature providing for them as necessary. So now they got relieved of his exhaustion by drinking water and taking bath. Tasmin nirmanuje ranye
Nirvanuje Rande,
Pipaloshpata ashrita
Palospata Ashrita,
Atmanatmanam atmastham
Atmanastam,
Yata shrutam achintayam.
Sutram Achinchayam,
Atmanatmanam atmastham. There are three uses of the word atma. Each refers to different things. Even though the word is same, just like when you have a green coconut, the whole coconut is called green. The whole thing is called green. Sorry, coconut. You take the shell out. The brown thing is also coconut. Take the peach out. The shell is also coconut. If you take the shell, break the shell, and you have only the core, that is also called coconut. Similarly, the physical body can also be called Atma. The subtle body is Atma, and the actual soul is also Atma. Yeah, please read the translation.
After that, under the shadow of a banyan tree in an uninhabited forest, I began to meditate upon the supersoul situated within, using my intelligence as I had learned from liberated souls.
See, this boy, he is fearless. He lost his mother. He was traveling and crossed all the forests and rivers and everything. And in the middle of a forest, now he's sitting down in an uninhabited forest. He must be really fearless, right? So that itself shows his advanced state of consciousness. He's fearless. He knows that Paramatma is always protecting him. So it shows that he's very advanced in consciousness already, by the association of the Bhaktivedantas. So now he sat down to meditate upon the super soul, using my intelligence as I had learned from the liberated souls. Right? So he was not following a process that is concocted. He was just following the instructions of his spiritual masters. Continue.
Put by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. One should not meditate according to one's personal whims. One should know perfectly well from the authoritative sources of scriptures through the transparent medium of a bona fide spiritual master, and by proper use of one's trained intelligence for meditating upon the super soul dwelling within every living being. This consciousness is firmly developed by a devotee who has rendered loving service unto the Lord by carrying out the orders of the spiritual master. Sri Narad Ji contacted bona fide spiritual masters Sri Narad ji contacted bona fide spiritual masters, served them sincerely, and got enlightenment rightly. Thus, he began to meditate.
So at the time, the process of meditation was the right process for the ears, and Narada Muni, following the guidance given by the Bhaktivedantas, after having been initiated, now he is actually taking to the process of meditation on the Paramatma within the heart, right? Meditating on the super soul dwelling within the heart. Dhyayatas charanam bhojam
ध्यायताश्चरणं भोजं
chetasa
भावनिर्जितचेतसा
autkantyasu kala kshashya
औत्कण्ठ्याशुकलाक्षस्य
hridyasin me sanay hari
हृदयासीन्मे
Hari.
jayatas charanam bhojam means is meditating on the lotus feet. Charanam bhojam means lotus feet of the Paramatma. Right? Paramatma, you know the picture of Paramatma, how he looks. So he was putting his mind on the Paramatma. Bhava nirjita, mind transformed into transcendental love for the Lord, completely immersed with complete selfless love for the Supreme Lord. So all his mental activities are fully focused on that love for the Paramatma within the heart.
As soon as I began to meditate upon the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead, with my mind transformed in transcendental love, tears rolled down my eyes. And without delay, the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, appeared on the lotus of my heart.
See, this is such a, because he's just ready for it. He's completely ready for it. And as soon as he started with sincerity, with all sincerity, meditating on the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, the form of the Lord appeared on the heart, in his heart. Means he could, within the eye of the mind, he could see the form of the Lord crystal clearly. So that was, as soon as he see, tears just flow from his eyes. It's just like how Lord Chaitanya, upon the receiving initiation from Ishwar Puri, immediately started exhibiting the ecstatic symptoms as soon as he chants the holy name. As soon as he chants the holy name, the tears would come out like water from the syringes, right? Just like this it will come. Because that was the ecstasy of Lord Chaitanya. Similarly, in the life of Narada Muni, we see the same kind of ecstasy. So he could see the form of the Lord, right? I mean, it is because his heart is already purified completely. It may not happen for everybody like that, but because he's such an advanced devotee, yeah.
Bhav and bhakti does not come by one's endeavor, but it's come by the mercy of the Lord.
Yeah. So this is actually special mercy of the Lord. Narada Muni is like Lord would appear and clarify that actually you are not ready for the kind of vision that you have, but I give you because I have special mercy for you. Because Lord had seen that this boy, even though he was put in such difficult situation, he could turn it around and actually fearlessly come to this forest and start meditating on him. So he actually has a special mercy. Lord appears, gives him a glimpse to just give him the attraction. For example, when many devotees, when they first come in contact with Krishna consciousness, they're extremely blissful and they experience true joy. And after a few days, that joy will be subsiding because their karma will kick off, and that experience is inexplicable. It's not easy to explain. And that keeps them going in the process of devotion service. After that, they won't experience until they purify their heart fully. But that initial experience, I had that wonderful experience when I started in college days. I went to the temple of ISKCON Chennai. The first time I had seen in the kirtan the deity's form, it was like something in Vaikuntha. I felt like that. I couldn't forget. Even today I can't just forget that vision. That kept me going for a long time. In that, just trying to re-experience that, but it never happens again. Yeah.
Prabhu, isn't that because Krishna wants to give you a taste?
Yes.
And like for Narada Muni also, he comes and then he goes away. So Krishna wants to give you a glimpse.
Yes.
And then he takes away that mercy for you to
For you to-
endeavor more.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's 2 months. Thank you. So basically, that is special mercy in the beginning, so that one gets taste for the process. And once you are convinced, you would continue on your own after that. So please continue this.
When all misgivings and personal deficiencies are removed, there is a standard faith in the transcendental matter, and the taste for it increases in a greater proportion. This stage leads to attraction, and after this, there is a bhava, or prior stage of unalloyed love of God, love for God. All the above different stages are but different stages of the development of transcendental love.
Yeah. So Narada Muni actually came to the state of bhava by actually witnessing the Lord within the heart. So the form of the Lord is described by Lord Shiva in the 4th canto, Creation of the 4th order. Snigdha pravridghanashyamam sarvasaundarya sangraham charvayata chaturbahu sujata ruchiranam padmakosha palashaksham sundarabhu sunasikam sudvijam shukapolasya samakarana vibhushanam. Anybody wants to read?
The Lord's beauty resembles a dark cloud during the rainy season. As the rainfall glistens, his bodily features also glisten. Indeed, he is the sum total of all beauty. The Lord has 4 arms and an exquisitely beautiful face with eyes like lotus petals, a beautiful highly raised nose, a mind-attracting smile, a beautiful forehead, and equally beautiful and fully decorated ears.
Yeah. So the sight of Lord is very enthralling for the devotee. This is the description by Lord Shiva. Even we hear the descriptions of, in the 10th canto of Bhagavatam, when Lord leaves Dwarka to say go to Hastinapur and come back in few days, the devotees and residents of Dwarka would miss Lord, and as if Lord left them for many days, even though he just goes and comes back in 2 days, because they always want to just capture the beauty of the Lord in their hearts. Just by seeing him, they would feel so happy. Right? The things of this material world many times attract us, but they don't satisfy. But Lord's beauty is such a thing, it just pleases and satisfies the heart. So now Narada Muni has experienced that. So he wants to have that continuously with him. But let's see what happens after this. Premati bhara nirbhinna
Premati
Pulakango tinivrata Ananda samplave lino Napasyam ubayam mune. Yeah, please read.
Vyasadeva, at that time, being exceedingly overpowered by feelings of happiness, every part of my body became separately enlivened. Being absorbed in an ocean of ecstasy, I could not see both myself and the Lord.
Narada Muni was in like total bliss, and he could not, like his eyes were totally filled with the form of the Lord, that he could not see himself and the Lord suddenly. And this is what happens when a devotee engages fully in the devotion service, every part of my body became separately enlivened. Just like when our ears are hearing, right, Harikatha, they're enlivened. When our eyes are seeing the beauty of the Lord, they are enlivened. So that's why you experience the maximum spiritual joy in a temple, because at the same time you might be hearing, you might be witnessing the form of the Lord, you might be touching the devotees. So in this way you have all the senses will become, there is a chance for all the senses to become enlivened. You may be using your body to dance for the pleasure of the Lord, or serving the devotees, some prasadam. So in this way, all the limbs become enlivened, meaning they are engaged. Because the right use of the body, that is physical body, that is given to is to engage in the service of the Lord, right? Because they're all given by Lord to us. The best use of them is to engage in the service of the Lord. When you engage them in the right purpose, naturally you feel enlivened, right? Very easy to understand that. So we asked, Narada Muni, when he experienced the form of the Lord, he was just, all his senses became enlivened, because they want to just engage in the service of the Lord. In that ocean of ecstasy, he experienced an ocean of ecstasy. Right? I could not see both myself and the Lord. So he could not just, he was just completely lost. This is the same experience of Dhruva Maharaj, and sees the form of the Lord, right? But for him, fortunately, because he had done the full process, the same Lord that he appears within the heart directly jumps out, and he sees in front of him the whole, the form of the Lord when he opened his eyes. But Narada Muni's experience is not so fortunate, so we'll hear that. Can anybody read?
Spiritual feelings of happiness and intense ecstasy have no mundane comparison. Therefore, it's very difficult to give expression to such feelings. We can just have a glimpse of such ecstasy in the words of Sri Narada Muni. Each and every part of the body or senses has its particular function. After seeing the Lord, all the senses become fully awakened to render service unto the Lord, because in the liberated state the senses are fully efficient in serving the Lord. As such, in that transcendental ecstasy, it is so happened that the senses became separately enlivened to serve the Lord. This being so, Narada Muni lost himself in seeing both himself and the Lord simultaneously.
Because in the liberated state, the senses are fully efficient in serving the Lord. Right? So the senses are looking for the opportunity to somehow or the other please the Lord. So whatever, that's why Prabhupada used whatever he has in his position in the service of the Lord. Right? Anything he could see, he could relate to how he can connect to Krishna. Right? How to Krishna is every aspect, because he is fully awakened to Krishna consciousness. So like that, every limb of his body was enlivened for serving the Lord.
The Prabhu, question is here, if when we see the Lord, we don't see ourselves, or we don't even think about ourselves, basically.
So
like he lost himself.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he just forgot about himself, basically.
So we never think about ourselves. We just want to serve the Lord constantly. That's the
completely absorbed in serving the Lord. Right? But he could not see, because I think the form of the Lord disappears in front of him. So he could not see. Yeah.
Thank you.
Rupam Bhagavato Yattan.
Rupam Bhagavato Yattan.
Manah Kantam Suchapaham. Apasyam Sahasotaste. Vaiklavya Durmana Iva. The form Rupam Bhagavato Yattan means the form of the Lord which was appeared in his tan means in the mind. Manah kantam suchapaham. Right? So suchapaham means disappeared completely. Right? Vaiklavya durmana eva. Vaiklavya durmana means he was disturbed when he lost the vision. Yeah. Please read.
The transcendental form of the Lord, as it is, satisfies the mind's desire and at once erases all mental incongruities. Upon losing that form, I suddenly got up, being perturbed as is usual when one loses that which is desirable.
The form of the Lord satisfies the mind's desire and at once erases all mental incongruities. Incongruities means confusions. If anybody has any confusion, just by seeing the transcendental form of the Lord, all of those things will go away. It satisfies mind's desire. Right? We see the forms of this world, they attract us, but they don't satisfy us, mind's desire. But the form of the Lord is satisfying to us, satisfies the mind. Right? And at once erases all mental incongruities. For us, the deity form of the Lord is a transcendental form of the Lord. It is non-different from Krishna himself. So taking darshan of the Lord should help satisfy the mind's desires completely. Upon losing that form, I suddenly got up, being perturbed as is usual when one loses that which is desirable. So suddenly he lost the vision. He could not see the form that has appeared in his heart. So he was very much disturbed, right? Because that was so satisfying to him. Suddenly his disturbance, his mind got disturbed. Yeah, continue.
That the Lord is not formless is experienced by Narada Muni, but his form is completely different from all forms of our material experience. For the whole duration of our life, we go on seeing different forms in the material world, but none of them is just apt to satisfy the mind, nor can any one of them banish all perturbance of the mind. These are the special features of the transcendental form of the Lord, and one who has once seen that form is not satisfied with anything else. No form in the material world can any longer satisfy the seer. That the Lord is formless or impersonal means that he has nothing like a material form and is not like any material personality.
So we can clearly see in the life of Narada Muni, he actually saw the form, the transcendental form of the Lord. So there is nothing like, the Lord doesn't have any form. So in the highest realization, one actually sees the form of the Lord. So many people, some of the impersonalist class of people think absolute truth is formless. But in this verse, we can see actually Lord has a spiritual form, and the impersonal feature is an expansion of his spiritual energy. It's not higher than his personal feature. Yeah. Can you continue, Madhuji? This is also important.
Yes, sir. As spiritual beings having eternal relations with the transcendental form of the Lord, we are life after life searching after that form of the Lord, and we are not satisfied by any other form of material appeasement. Narada Muni got a glimpse of this, but having not seen it again, he became perturbed and stood up all of a sudden to search it out. What we desire life after life was obtained by Narada Muni, and losing sight of him was certainly a great shock for him.
He was shocked, suddenly losing the darshan. Didrikshu-stat aham bhuya. Pranidhaya manohridi.
प्रणिधाय
मनोहृदे
वीक्षमाणोऽपि नापश्यम्
वीक्षमाणोऽपि न पश्यन्
अवितृप्ता इवातुरा. So Didrikshu means his desire to see the Lord is again there strongly. Right? You want to see that form again and again. See, he tries to go back to the process and tries to see the form, right? Thinking that it will, it's just a mechanical process, I can get it back. But it doesn't work like that. Yeah. Go ahead.
I desired to see again the transcendental form of Lord, but despite of my attempt to concentrate upon the heart with engraven to view the form again, I could not see him anymore. And thus, dissatisfied, I was very much aggrieved.
Yeah. So it's like, he got this wonderful gift. He has left everything. He came to this forest, he sat down in meditation, and immediately Lord has appeared. He felt like his heart's desire is fulfilled. But suddenly the form has disappeared to his aftershock. And he tried to get back the vision again by going back to meditation. But unfortunately, his attempts to concentrate upon the heart with eagerness to view the form again, he could not see him anymore. So naturally, he's one who loses the vision of the form of the Lord, naturally gets dissatisfied. He was not only dissatisfied, he was very sad. So looking at this, very young boy's condition, Lord would actually speak now after this. Yeah, continue, Prabhu.
There is no mechanical process to see the form of the Lord. It completely depends on the causeless mercy of the Lord. We cannot demand the Lord to be present before our vision, just as we cannot demand the sun to rise whenever we like. The sun rises out of his own accord. So also the Lord is pleased to be present out of his causeless mercy. One should simply await the opportune moment and go on discharging his prescribed duty in devotional service of the Lord.
Yeah.
Narada Muni thought that the Lord could be seen again by the same mechanical process which was successfully in the first attempt. But in spite of his utmost endeavor, he could not make the second attempt successful. The Lord is completely independent of the obligation of all obligations.
So the spiritual experience one gets in one's own life is actually what? What is that? How does one experience any spiritual experience one gets in one's own life is actually the causeless mercy of the Lord. For Lord, there is no reason for giving his darshan to Narada Muni. Right? It's not like, okay, Narada Muni sat down in meditation, and because he followed a process, Lord immediately appeared. Right? So he cannot appear on demand. It is out of his own accord, Lord has appeared. Right? So Narada Muni tried to get that vision again by going back to meditation, it didn't work out. Yeah. So it is ultimately Lord's own will, and whenever Lord is pleased, he will do it again. Right? So the main point here is we should never be dissatisfied. Oh, I've been practicing for for 20 years, 30 years. I still don't have any spiritual experiences. Maybe Krishna is not there. Like that, we should not get into confusion. It is completely dependent on Lord's mercy. Whenever he's independent and he can appear in our vision anytime, he could give this relation for us anytime. So we should never doubt these revelations. The Narada Muni and all these stories are real. So we should have faith in our acharyas, right, and accept on their words and vision, right, their experiences. So this is real story of Narada Muni in the previous day of Brahma. So we accept on the faith of the authority of the acharyas, and even though we may not have the experience, we continue with faith. that this is a bona fide process. We continue to have that faith and continue the process. And when Lord is pleased, He will be, he will shower His mercy upon us.
Prabhu, it is Lord's causeless mercy, but isn't there a part we have to do in our devotion service also? Like, how do we reconcile Ye Yathamam Prapadyante verse with causeless mercy?
Good question. Okay. So, definitely Lord reciprocates, but what Narada Muni experiences is extraordinary mercy, because he just sat down right there and suddenly he got this special experience. Lord would reciprocate with us according to our surrender. That is true. That is, the gradual process, right? As you increase your surrender, you would see Lord how He reciprocates with us, right? But in this case, this is like a special mercy, like just like how Sudama suddenly, came, he didn't even expect anything, but he got a full building constructed by Lord out of His special causeless mercy, right? So it's unexpected mercy, like the fruit vendor gets his jewels, right? That's a special mercy. Lord has no reason to do that, but still He does that once in a while. For example, the other thing was Azamila. Azamila just chanted the holy name and he was protected from hellish planets, going to hellish planets. So this is the case of special mercy, and it doesn't need to happen for everybody. And what generally happens is Ye Yatamam Prapadyante, as your surrender increases, so your experience of Krishna increase, right? Your convictions in Krishna will increase.
Thank you.
So Prabhu, here is also another thought process I have is Bharat Maharaj. He was doing all the endurance himself. He didn't have any association. At the time of the death, he fell down. So one's endurance is not guaranteed to achieve the results, is what I'm kind of understanding. And another thing is like Dhruva Maharaj. He had at the age of the 5, he could able to, in 9 months or austere penance, he could able to get the darshan and blessings of the Lord. So that also happened because of his previous lives, many lives penances that all came together in that time. So Prabhu, so does it mean that whenever we get some glimpse of the mercy, does it mean is one is the association of devotees, like Narad Muni also died at Dhruva Maharaj, one, and second is our previous life's penances also contributes?
Yeah, so definitely Narada Muni in this life, he was blessed. He had received the mercy of Bhaktivedantas. His heart was purified, almost purified, right? So that was the blessings of the those Bhaktivedantas, right? Sometimes devotees have past devotional credits as well, right? So they advance very fast. So both are possible. If somebody gets a parents who are devotees, that is definitely, you can see that they have done their devotional part in the past life. Like
Yes.
Yeah. When he pleases, being satisfied with the sincere attempt of devotional service, depending completely on the mercy of the Lord, then he may be seen out of his own accord, right? So Lord sees our sincere effort. We continue to chant sincerely, rise in the morning, chant our rounds, do our best we can, whatever we can, right? In terms of, hearing the pastimes of the Lord, serving the Lord and these devotees, whatever in our, possibilities, we try our best, and we wait for that mercy. Whenever it happens, right? Devotee never complains, why this happened to me, why that happened to me, why is this like this, why is it? You don't know what is the plan of the Lord. When you are taking Krishna consciousness, Lord holds your life together, right? So he might give you some good rides sometimes, bad rides sometimes, but you are in the hands of Lord. That's what you should you should feel grateful for and happy for. Never complain on Lord and just accept everything as mercy of the Lord, and will perfect our life. We don't. Main thing is we don't complain. Right? We just accept things as they are, because Lord knows what is best for us. Right? When we complain, it means that we think we know what is better for us than Lord. Right? That's how we are thinking. Don't fight back. Just accept and see what can be done best in the situation. Sometimes difficult situations come. Yeah. Evam yatantam vijane
Shantam vijane
mamaha gocharo giram
Mamaha gojaro giram
gambhira slakshna ya vacha
Gambhira Sakshna Vacha
sucha prasamayam iva.
Sucha Prasamayam Iva.
Please read.
Seeing my Go ahead, Prabhu.
Go ahead, Mataji.
Seeing my attempts in that lonely place, the personality of Godhead, who is transcendental to all the mundane description, spoke to me with gravity and pleasing words, just to mitigate my grief.
So Lord, looked at this boy. He's so young. He was disturbed totally. Looking at his condition, he took pity on him. So with a lot of gravity and pleasing words. Lord is always pleasing in his words. So just to mitigate the grief of this boy, just to reassure him what is going to happen next for him, he will start speaking. Suddenly he will hear the words from Akashvani. Right? Lord would not appear anymore, but he would hear the words of the Lord. Okay, so it's 3:45. And some of you have services. So I'll end here. We'll continue in the next class. So next verses are very interesting. Yeah. We'll stop here, 20 verses. If you have any questions, we can discuss.
Probably regarding that our endeavor and mercy, like unless we show endeavor, or at least we endeavor from our side, we cannot expect mercy to just flow. Sure, Lord is very merciful, but unless we give them the sign that we really endeavor for you, we cannot expect mercy. Right?
Correct. So Lord would reciprocate according to our desire to endeavor. He doesn't want to interfere in our desires. That's the he doesn't want forced love. He expects us to take that one step. When we take one step, he takes two steps. He was the association and required help for us to get even closer to him.
Yeah, and at any time we should not think that all this happened because of my endeavor. It's purely mercy.
Main point.
So it's a balance of both, I guess.
Correct. It is all happening by the mercy of the Lord. That's how we should take. So when we have that grateful attitude, we'll see tangible changes in our consciousness. So we should never think, oh, I woke up in the morning and that's how everything is going fine, right? As soon as we become proud, Lord would pull us down a little bit. We should be very careful about that.
Anyway, I had heard that 20% is what we do and rest is Lord's mercy. So even if we endeavor, we can only do 20%.
That is true, yeah.
Maybe sometimes we can
But
say
20% is weird from us.
20% also.
1% we do, 99%.
Yeah, 1% also compared to what Lord does, we don't think ours is 1%, right? We, I don't know how we can come to that metric of 20 or 1.
Yeah, I heard in a lecture, like this is a lecture by Keshavan Prabhu. So that's how he'd explain what is our ratio of effort and what is his reciprocation.
That's true. So it's basically majority is Krishna, but we are the one to start. We should start. We should take one step ahead towards Lord, and then Lord would reciprocate. Anything else?
So one question on Bharat Maharaj. If somebody serves the Lord and the senior Vaishnavas, the devotees, all through the life, and at the end of the life, if he falls down, what would happen?
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about Bharat Maharaj.
No, I mean, I'm just giving a reference, but
So the
like
causeless mercy and Bharat Maharaj is that he remembered his past life. You see, when he became a deer, he remembered how he was a great king and he missed the opportunity in the past life. So he was very careful even in the form of a deer. That is the great benediction, right? So he was only staying near ashram. He would hear the kirtans that are going on in the ashram, participate in yajnas. He was just staying there around there. He was doing everything possible to stay Krishna conscious, even in that form of the body. And he loses his body very soon in that form of the body and takes the Jadabharat form. In this form, he remembers both his past two lives. See? So that is causeless mercy of the Lord.
Right. But
So
people like us, Prabhu, if someone does everything throughout the life, but he falls down at last, just before he leaves the body.
then you don't need to worry. Arjuna, Krishna reassures to Arjuna in 8th chapter, you remember? When he talks about in Uttarayana, if you leave your body at this time, you would go to higher planets like that. And Arjuna gets doubt. Oh, what happens to me? Like I'm not like doing all of this. He says, you don't worry about yourself. You are a devotee. You are taken care. So Bharat Maharaj's story was a little bit different because he was totally absorbed on protecting the deer. He actually absorbed. He was so absorbed that he actually neglects his duties towards Lord. So he prioritized the duties of serving the deer over his own personal austerities and process bhakti process. So that is the reason he had to be taught a lesson, right? So it's not like, I mean, one of the disciple of Ramanujacharya, he actually asked his guru, Lord, Gurudev, if all my life I serve the Lord, but at the time of death, if I forget Lord, what happens? He asked the same question that you asked. Ramanujacharya immediately doesn't answer. He goes back to Varadaraj and prays to him, and he gets the answer from the Lord that even if the devotee forgets, I will remember the devotee. That's what Lord says. So the case of Bharat Maharaj is an exclusive redirection of his consciousness towards material besides. So if that doesn't happen, Lord reassures that if you are sincerely serving, if you are in coma towards the end of life for whatever reasons, Lord would actually take care of it. We should not doubt that.
There shouldn't be any single doubt whether we do it full life, 1 year, 2 year, whether Lord takes us or not, it is his desire, right? If he thinks it's next life or 100 lives after that, that's what we deserve, and we should accept that. I think we should not, I mean, it's very easy to say theory, but whatever he wishes, whether he takes this life or later life, he will take care. That blind faith, I think we should try to
we should not become anxious to go back to Godhead.
Yeah.
Lord knows what is best, and we respect his decision for us, right? We just continue doing whatever we can and expect the best thing to be taken care by the Lord, done by the Lord. Yeah. So that is how we situate ourselves.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay, 350, we'll end here. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.